Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. We're going to go through my round 20 tips and predictions. Also, my state of origin predictions for tonight's massive game. Just a quick run through. I have not got any stats to run through in this game. I didn't really have too much time to run through and calculate the stats of each and every team because usually I go through the last 5 games for each and every team, and I just didn't have time to during. Had to do a really cool podcast opportunity with a really good friend of mine. I'll call him a friend. I haven't met him before, but we've talked online sort of stuff. So please, if you want to go check out that podcast, go check out the Waz Up podcast on Spotify. Me and him has some really good chat about the New Zealand Warriors and how we're sitting at the moment, all that sort of stuff. It's the main reason why I did not put up a War Talk video this week where I go through my Warriors and how we played against the Parramatta Eels. But yeah, just really impressed with like how he runs things. He's just a really great dude. So yeah, shout out to him and shout out to everyone that supported me to give him like for him to find me and all that sort of stuff. All the support for you guys have given me has opened up all these opportunities to work with people like him and, hold the ball in the past that found me, and he's given me the biggest opportunity ever. So I really do appreciate every single one of you guys for that. So moving on, last week we end up having a perfect round of football. So getting every game right. It was really great to see, and especially just top it off with the Warriors getting a massive win over the weekend. Hopefully we can go back to back this weekend, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So if you guys enjoy the video, please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below your tips for the weekend. Let's get straight into the video. So obviously the big game tonight, we got the New South Wales Blues versus the Queensland Maroons. Massive game definitely for the Blues here. Obviously a whole lot of pressure on them, or pressure on Freddie. We're not too sure whether if a win here really saves Freddie's job, but I would say that is pretty much on the cards there. Players like Teddy are probably playing for one of their last opportunities, which is actually mental to think about because Teddy's been one of the most consistent players for how many years now. And I think I do want a talking point of Teddy, we do forget that these guys have gone through a World Cup year this year. Obviously, his team's not performing that well. These guys had a really cut down preseason and all that sort of stuff, so they've really not got away from footy for a long time now. So I do feel like a burnout is somewhat there. I wouldn't be surprised if Teddy comes out next year and absolutely brains it. But, just everything that's going on at the moment, we saw it with the Cowboys, and I do really put it down with the Cowboys. The World Cup year really has thrown a whole lot of things into play here. A couple of injuries here and there, but it's also just how sluggish some teams have come out the blocks, especially the big teams. The Panthers are in a massive form right now, but we do remember early on in the season, they were not clicking the same and all that sort of stuff. I feel like, a lot of it does come down to World Cup pressure and all that sort of stuff. So obviously a whole lot of changes on the Blues end. Brandon Best comes in, Gutho comes in, Jake Turbo comes in, RCG comes in. There's so many different people coming in this lineup here. Spencer Lino is coming in on reserves. There's a whole lot of talk that he may switch into the bench role for the Blues. I'm not too sure what's going to come out of it. Apparently, the talk is they're probably going to drop the hooker off the bench, which is Robson, or they'll drop Cookie and put Robson as starting 9. There's a whole lot of rumors of that, and then they put Spencer Lino in there and keep Gutho, even though they don't really have a plan for Gutho. It's pretty mental at the moment for, I can only imagine what it would feel like to be a Blues fan, but you've got to support your boys. It is what it is. It's going to be massive where you get the sweep here for Maroons. As you all know, I'm a Maroons fan. So coming on the Maroons, we got Corey Horsburgh. Shout out to Corey Horsburgh. He's definitely one of the hometown boys and all that sort of stuff. I don't know him personally, but I know of him definitely. A whole lot of people that I know him very well. Amazing fella. Plays great football, so really good to see him on the State of Origin stage and all that. And AJ Brimson getting in there. I'm so excited for AJ. I've been talking AJ's praises for so long now. I think he's one of the best fullbacks in the competition. So my tip for this game, as we all know, I'm going Maroons either way. Go check out the Waz Up podcast. I'll give you my score prediction on that podcast as well. If you do want to check out some extras, this and that, I will leave that up to the Waz Up podcast. So please make sure you go check that out. I think it was an amazing episode, and I also found out a lot about myself listening to it. I think I have a nervous tick. I hope you guys don't pick up on it too early. So, all right, let's get through some NRL football. So the first game of the weekend, we got the Knights versus the Tigers at McDonald Jones Stadium. Starting off the Knights, obviously getting a really nice win in round 18 against the Doggies 66-0, where they're absolutely dominated. No massive changes to the lineup coming into this game. I feel like KP and all that sort of stuff is an amazing form at the moment. Hopefully Braden Best being in State of Origin camp really brings back something really nice for the Knights coming into this game. The Tigers, massive win with this one. They got Api Coruscant. Just amazing to have Api Coruscant back in this lineup. He definitely changes so much for the Tigers. It's just really unfortunate he hasn't got like a really sturdy half or whatever to play with in this game. Obviously, you know, Dewey's been out with injury. Luke Brooks has been out with injury, but hopefully he can get through the game really well because he's one of the most damaging hookers in the game. A 36-12 loss to the Sharkies last week, and I felt like, you know, the first half they really they gave a really good game to the Sharkies. They really held in very strong, got a couple of really nice meaties on the board, but you know, the Sharkies really just took grab of that game in the second half, and the Tigers didn't really fire a shot in that second half, which is pretty disappointing. So coming into this game, my tip's going to go with the Knights. I feel like the Knights against, you know, the Tigers, even though Api Coruscant is back, and I feel like that sways a lot to the Tigers. Like, you know, Api Coruscant was the reason why they were going really well early on in this year. I feel like, yeah, the Knights are just going to be a little bit too strong across the park, you know, the way KP's been playing, and they're really wanting to get a really nice home win for the home fans there. Next game, we got the Doggies versus the Broncos at Belmore. Before we get through this game, go check out Josh Reynolds, his retirement game. He's playing New South Wales Cup before this game. If anyone, I'm pretty sure it's all sold out anyway and all that sort of stuff, but go down there, you know, support the man. That guy has been a legend for so long for the Doggies. He's just one of the hardest working players, and you can just see it in his football. A lot of what I was saying in the Wise Up podcast before is like about Nico Hines is I feel like, you know, people do take away, like, you know, was it a basketball player that came out and said, this is my art. Oh, it was Kyrie Irving. I'm pretty sure Kyrie Irving said, this is my art. I'm an artist. Like, you know, everything that I do on a basketball court shows me as a person, like, you know, across it, like, you know, just art stuff. And that I feel like Josh Reynolds just shows what he is as a person, is the hardest working person out there. People will call him a grub, and he is a grub and all that sort of stuff, but I think it's just passion. And I feel like, you know, a whole lot of people need passion these days, and there's not a lot of it going around. But, you know, Joshy Reynolds, shout out to him. He's been amazing for so long. Starting off with the Dogs, obviously getting a really nice win last week with 36-32 against the Rabbitohs. They played really great for like 70% of that game, and then the Rabbitohs just really brought it home in the last like 10 minutes or so. They absolutely killed to get back in that contest. But I got a big dub up for Toby Sexton. A really great game from him to really open up Matty Burton's game. Really, really great job for Sexton in his first game, but now we need to see him back it up. So this is the biggest thing with Sexton. We need consistency, and if he can unlock Matty Burton's game, that would be amazing for the Doggies and will really, really help out throughout the rest of this year coming on. Carraz does come into the center role for next to Wilson. So obviously Quai Ward does drop out of this lineup. Josh Adokar comes back from Origin and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really excited to see how this Doggies team now looks. RFM goes up in the front row, obviously with Ryan Sutton going down with the HIA, and hopefully he's doing well. It's never good to see a player in that sort of position on the football field. Moving on to the Broncos, we got 24-16 win over the Dolphins in round 18. 19, 18, this is not last week or the week before. I actually went out to watch that game. A really decent performance overall from the Broncos. Definitely missing a whole lot of people, and, you know, Paddy Carrigan playing out on an edge. They still had Haas and Carrigan and all that sort of stuff, but still, like, you know, missing Walshy and like a couple other key pieces like Ricky, Flegler. I thought they did really well with like a Dolphins. They were really up for this game, especially, you know, the Hammer was doing some really great work in that first half, but I feel like, you know, Herbie Farnworth, man, the work he gets through when you actually go to watch him like do it live. Same with Payne Haas. It's actually mental. It would have been good to see Paddy Carrigan play his more natural position in that game with 13 or in the middle. But yeah, it just wasn't able to be. Still no Walsh due to the suspension, so obviously Tristan Saylor is still in that fullback role, and then we got Jesse Arthurs that are sitting on the bench. So a very, not small bench or whatever, but, you know, Jesse Arthurs coming into the bench is a bit of a weird one for me, and there's another team a little bit later on we'll talk about that has a very light bench. So my tip for this game, I'm going to go with the Broncos, even though I feel like there's going to be a whole lot of heart with the Doggies in this one, especially at Belmore, Josh Reynolds' last game in New South Wales Cup, but I'm still going to feed over to the NRL team. I think the Broncos are just in a different class at the moment comparatively to the Doggies, but I hope the Dogs come out and they kill it. I hope Sexton kills it and just gives a little bit of love to these fans because they deserve it, man. Next up, we got Manly versus the Cowboys at Four Pines Stadium. So Manly, an 18-16 win over the Roosters in round 18. A great game game from them to get that win over a Roosters team that did look like they were up for that game. They were starting to try and turn a corner with that team. They're struggling really like a lot at the moment. Dean Madison comes in on the bench. I'm pretty sure this is one of his first games of maybe his debut game of NRL. I'm not too 100% sure if he's had like a one-off game or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's his debut game, but really excited to see how he goes. He comes in that 14 bench role, but nothing really else really changes with that team. It's really good to see Ruben Garrick hold on to that fullback role because I feel like he's the best person to have out back there. Really excited to see how Manly come up against this Cowboys team that is on fire at the moment. Talking about the Cowboys, 74-0 win over the Tigers before the break, obviously in round 18. They killed it in that game. Scotty Drinkwater, Murray Dowlungi, Valentine Holmes, Tom Dearden, all these boys just absolutely killing it. That forward back is starting to really get on top of teams now. Jason Tamalolo comes into a bench role, which is fucking mental to think about. That guy's been like the best 13 for like how long now? Now he's coming off the bench. So good to see the Cowboys really turn a corner. And as I said before, of my state of origin sort of look, I really feel like it does come down to the World Cup and how they played a factor in how this team has been going or not. But really good to see players like obviously Tom Dearden just come into his own because he's been so good. I've always actually rated him as like, I've said it multiple times. I don't know if people really see it in him, but he's not the same as a Benny Hunt or anything like that. He's never done the same thing, but like he just looks like that mold, like the dummy and go, just the running halfback, like looks amazing out in that football field. So really excited to see how they go in this game. My tip for this one, I'm going to go to Cowboys. I usually go Manly at 4 Pines. Usually Manly is like a fortress at 4 Pines, but I feel like the Cowboys just at the moment, they're in some different type of form. I feel like Manly are going to give it a really good crack though. I feel like it's going to be a 1-12 game. So it's going to be a good game to really judge on how the Cowboys are actually going at the moment. But yeah, I feel like the Cowboys are going to come out and do really good in this game. Next game, we got the Roosters versus Storm at SCG. So with the Roosters, an 18-16 loss to Manly, but a whole lot of different names coming in here. So we got Brendan Smith coming back off a broken finger or a broken hand or whatever. It looked pretty mental on their buy round podcast and all that sort of stuff. So shout out to Brendan Smith, doing great work on that podcast as well. And Jake Turpin actually holds on to the starting role and they're going to bring Brendan Smith off the bench. I'm not sure how long that will start for, but I've actually been rating Jake Turpin's role in the Roosters team at the moment. His defensive work, he's done really good stuff. Sometimes you just need to simplify some areas. You can't have too many chiefs in the kitchen, you know, too many chefs in the kitchen. Maybe like that will really help out with the Roosters coming into the end of this year. Joseph Suoli'i is back on the wing and Billy Smith, is back as well. So both those boys have been named, obviously both getting decent head knocks that kept him out of their last game. And Radley is still named on an edge. Nathan Brown will keep it at 13 role. So really excited to see Radley continue up on that edge. He's going to be up against Trent Liero's side. I was kind of thinking like, you know, I was trying to picture which side he was on. I had to go check of which side he played against Manly. I was like, bro, I pray that you play against Big Nelson. I reckon that would have been an amazing matchup. Hopefully we do get to see if Nelson pushes more so to the middle. You just love to see big hitters go at each other. And with the Melbourne Storm, no massive changes in this game, but a really decent loss to the Panthers last week. I felt like they were on the Panthers to start the game. They were up like 14-0 or whatever, and then the Panthers just flicked the switch, and that Panthers without Cleary, man, like people just, the Panthers are just on a different level at the moment. 34-16 loss and at Melbourne as well. So I feel like you got to give massive credit to the Panthers there. But even then, I really felt like the Storm were up for that game. You saw a lot of good things out of the Storm. They're still missing a couple of key men and all that sort of stuff. Like Alessi Katoa, I feel like he's definitely a big miss for him, especially, you know, Big Nelson. I feel like he's more suited to a momentum role, even though like everyone's saying he needs to play longer minutes. I agree with them. They need to play longer minutes, but I feel like he is more of a momentum forward. Get him on, punch it out for a big minute role and all that sort of stuff, and then bring him off and usually grind it out. So I feel like they can find a way to do that. But yeah, just, you know, at the moment, they've kind of got a couple of pieces here and there trying to fit themselves in. It's good to see Papi running around again. So hopefully he can get back into the lineup a little bit towards the end of the year, towards final series. So my tip for this game, I think the Roosters are a bit too hard to beat at SCG. I think they have one of the most mental records there or anything like that. I know we always play the Roosters at the SCG, so they're just a really tough team to play there. So I'm going to go to Roosters. I know it's a bit of a wayward one, but I just feel like, I think I'm like everyone. We need to see the Roosters turn this corner because they just got way too much class in this team. Like, you name it top to bottom, it's just fucking studs. So Sammy Walker, I think he's still dealing with his ACL sort of stuff, so hopefully he gets back soon. But Sandon Smith's doing really good control the team and get Luke Keary wherever he needs to go. And yeah, hopefully the Roosters get over the top here. Next up, we got the Warriors versus the Sharks at Go Media Stadium on Sunday. So starting off with my Warriors, if you want to go check out a full in-depth sort of breakdown on this game or whatever, please make sure you go check out the Wise Up podcast. I feel like it was an amazing podcast and all that sort of stuff. Really enjoyed a good chat with him. So hopefully I can get back on with him. He's been amazing for me. Just awesome to have a guy that I go check his videos all the time. He does a lot of video breakdown and all that sort of stuff on our game. It's just really amazing to see. But a really nice win last week, 46-10 over the Parramatta Eels. In that game, I felt like our forward pack was starting to get back into gear after obviously the disappointing Rabbits game. Mitch Barnett, who's back up front in this game, I'm really excited to see that. Bunty Afol is out with a head knock, so Mitch Barnett gets that starting front row role, and I fucking love it. I love Mitch Barnett so much, and it's so good to see Joshy Curran is back. It's a player that we've been missing for the last couple of weeks. With Nick Corey going down, we needed someone else there, and it's just so unfortunate that Joshy Curran had to go through all these court stuff and all that sort of stuff at the moment. So moving on to the Sharks, 36-12, a win over the Tigers last week. They obviously, for me, they didn't start like they had this whole, the Tigers were heavily depleted. They weren't really impressing me to start this game. And then coming to that second half, they really showed their class towards the end of the game. I feel like, that's obviously, I feel like it's a better performance than what they've had thrown up a lot of times where, that first half, they really just blow teams out of the water and then they just get really clunky. But then we've seen really bad performances like with the Melbourne Storm game and all that sort of stuff where they're really clunky and they seem to drop a lot of ball, unforced errors. So coming into this game, hopefully we can really attack him with that sort of stuff. Hopefully we can get down that Wilton and Moylan edge and get some meaties on Joshy Curran's side. Yeah, I'm really excited for this game. My tip obviously is going to go the Warriors, but I got to give credit to the Sharkies. They are a top 8 team. I think they're better than anyone in the bottom 8 or whatever, and they should be around a top 4 team, just not the year that they're having at the moment. It's really unfortunate with Nico Hines obviously dealing with the whole lot of the origin stuff and all that sort of stuff. So, but my tip is going the Warriors. Hopefully we can get up in at home. Second last game, we got the Finns versus the Panthers at KO. So I'm really excited for this game. Obviously for the Finns, coming up against the powerhouse of the Panthers, and we'll talk about who's nearly back and playing into this game. So with the Finns to start off with, 23-21 win over the Titans last week. Obviously the controversial the penalty at the end. I do honestly agree that it is a penalty. He was way offside. It was a good 2 to 3 meters in my opinion offside, but it's just the Bulls that call that penalty, but it does also just deflate the game. And I understand for every, I feel sorry because if I was a Titans fan as being a Warriors fan, I would be blowing up as well. But, it was the right call. It just was one of those things that was just hopefully they keep calling it that way and stay consistent on it. But we know the NRL, they definitely won't be doing it. I think that's the biggest disappointment in that game there. But I've got to give credit to the Finns. I felt like, in that second half, they were the dominant team. In the first half, the Titans were a dominant team. Obviously, the Titans, they just play a little bit more flamboyant football, where the Finns, they play a lot more direct football. And I feel like, when Milford came on the field, he definitely changed something up. His momentum was just amazing. It was good to see Milf get out there and run the Titans ragged on that edge, especially on an edge that Isaiah Katoa did some good work on that edge, but he wasn't able to really put them on two minds and all that sort of stuff, especially with Valence on that sideline. Brian Kelly did fucking amazing on Valence Tafare, but Valence Tafari drops out of this team. The hammer comes in at center. Harrison Graham gets another run at that starting hooker role. I'm really excited to see how he keeps developing. He looks like a good little prospect there. There's a whole lot of talk around him, so hopefully he can stay injury-free. That's always been his issue coming into these ones. With the Panthers, 34-16 win over the Melbourne Storm in Melbourne, so a massive plus for them. All their origin players have been named to back up, even though of what Ivan Cleary said a couple of weeks back that maybe that's in the past that all the origin players back up, but I feel like more so they're coming towards the end of the year now, so they really need to be playing their football. But it's also really great to see that Nathan Cleary has been named on the reserves. Hopefully he gets a crack to come back into this team. I really there's a lot of talk that he is going to be playing this weekend, so just really good to see Nathan Cleary back out there, another stud of our game. My tip for this game, I'm going to go the Panthers. I feel like if Cleary's back, if everything, I feel like the Dolphins are going to give a fight, but the Panthers, they're just in a different form right now. They are the best team in the competition by far. The last game of the weekend, we got the Eels versus the Titans at CommBank Stadium. Starting off the Eels, obviously a 46-10 loss against my Warriors, but I got to give the credit where credit's due. They were missing a whole lot of boys. They were missing Gutho, Moses, obviously RCG. There's just a whole lot of boys out. You add Dylan Brown into it and all that sort of stuff. Like, they are missing a whole lot of troops. But I thought, they held in for a little parts of this game. A couple of moments, like Bailey Simonson had a really good moment there. Obviously getting on the outside of Shawnee Johnson off the scrum. But I really feel like they're going to come back into this game. And we've seen in games past and all that sort of stuff against teams like the Titans and that. Even though the Titans got a really nice win over them at Magic Rounds, I feel like the Eels are starting, hopefully turning a corner. Who knows with the Eels actually, but I really do feel like they can put some points on some teams. So I feel like this game is going to go overs for all money. I'm really excited to actually see Mitchell Moses and all that sort of stuff coming out of Origin and just play his natural game against the Titans. And with the Titans, 23-21 loss to the Finns. Khalees Haas keeps his starting edge back row spot from Stimson, who went down with 2 pretty much head knocks in that game. They are running with the smallest bench, in my opinion, that I have ever seen, really, like in my opinion. So we got Campbell, Randall, fucking tongue twister there, Clark and Jojo Fafita. So for me, that's like a really, like you were talking about, for Campbell, that can fill in probably like 5'8" fullback. Maybe you could chuck him at center or wing for a pinch. You got Fafita that can go center wing. You got Randall, that's usually a hooker. To be fair, does a lot of good work in the middle and that sort of stuff. And Clark. So all their big boppers, so we're talking Tino and we're talking Mo Fodawaker, have got a massive job on their hands just to stay through this whole game, especially against an Eels forward back. There's Junior Borlo, RCG, Joe Affangawi, Ryan Madison, Jermaine Hopgood. Like, that's just in the middle, and then pick your edges and that. Like, man, like they've got a whole lot of work to get through in this game. So that's the reason why I'm going to go to the Eels. I feel like the Eels just got more class in this game. I feel like, they're just going to come back off Origin, especially off the loss against the Warriors and that. They're going to really want to get back on the winning track. And at CommBank at home, I feel like they're going to do some good work there. But yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Please make sure you like, subscribe if you do. Comment down below your tips for the weekend as well. Please make sure you go check out the Wise Up podcast. I keep plugging it all the way through, but it's actually a really great episode. So please make sure you go check it out on Spotify. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Take it easy.